it's Cara back with another art journal process video. Today I'm creating in my Canson One Art Journal for those who like to know what books you're in. So I've got this image from Collage Soup. Now, I think it's from Face It, but don't quote me on that because I've printed quite a few images because I buy the ebooks because it's just easier for me whilst I'm travelling. I printed quite a few whilst I was in Morocco and popped them in a folder, and now I can't quite remember where they're all from, but I use the Face It a lot, and so that's why I think it's from that one. But if it's from a different one, then I'm really sorry. Anyway, I'm using Faber Castell acrylic paints here and some Finendo acrylic paints as well, which is that big tube, that's Finendo, and the little tiny tubes, they're the Faber Castells. I went with the blues because, as you can see, the girl is very blue, and I really wanted to just continue that through my background. So I just started by popping some blue where I thought the image would kind of finish. I have got what's that stuff called? Masking tape around the edge of my page, just so that I've got a little white border at the end. And you can see I'm kind of lining it up to give myself that white border all the way around the outside. So I'm just smooshing the paint on with my fingers in no specific way, just to get a nice blend of blues, the same as what's in that paper. And then I was just going to add some paint onto the top of the paper as well to get the blues to match the ones in my background. Obviously, when you print any image, the colours do not come through true, and I want the background blues to match the blues in the image, so just go over the top of your image. There is nothing to say that you cannot adapt to these images in any way you want to. That's what they're there for. So yeah, I'm painting all over the top of it as well. So yeah, I'm just going to basically smush it everywhere I want it. I'm using a few different blues. I've got Cobalt blue, I've got Ultramarine blue, and I've got light blue from the Faber Castell pack. And then the Finendo tube, it's I think it's a Moroccan brand. I'm not sure. I've only ever seen it here. But anyway, that's just called blue. But yeah, I'm just going to use my finger to smush those paints here, there and everywhere, basically, just to get my background looking smooth, and so that the transition between the image, so the paper edges, if you like, doesn't show up as much when it's all complete. So as you can see, I just continue adding and adding. It does look a bit messy right now, but when you take off the for some reason I get a real stick sometimes on what that tape is called, the masking tape. When you take off the masking tape, it will have a, hopefully, if I've stuck it down properly, sometimes the paint gets under, but I'm hoping it'll have a nice crisp white edge around it. So now what I'm doing is I've grabbed a little bit of black from the Faber Castell paints, and I've added it to my darkest blue, which I believe is the Cobalt blue, just so that I can give her hair a little bit more definition and then start working on some of those other elements in the picture. So I've gone over the hair strands, added a few extras, and then there was these like circles overlapping her face. So I've gone over those to make them a bit darker, and I've also added them in two other places on my page, just so that I've got them in threes. As you can see at the top there, the blue that I smushed is still very wet, so I'm not getting a crisp line for those circles. However, that doesn't bother me. It is just to help the background and the image become a bit more cohesive, because those circles were just in that one place on her face. So just wanted to make it look like it all blended a bit better. And then I'm just going to dry it off, because as I said, that top paint was very wet. and I want to do some stamping, so I just need to make sure that's dry enough for me to stamp onto. Here I've grabbed out some bubble wrap. That's what we call it in the UK. I've heard it called a few different things, but it's basically packaging, and it's got little tiny air-filled balls or bubbles in it, and it makes great stamping and sort of texture for the background. So I've added the rest of that kind of black blue mixture that I made for her hair onto the bubble wrap, and I've just done that in the 3 places sort of where those circles were that I painted on as well, just to help tie that in together. Then I've got these new background builder stamps. They're just from a company called Temu. They're quite cheap, as you can see. There's the page of them, and then I've got another one that you just saw me stamp, which is just some text. But all those little ones on there, it's called background building, but it's just general patterns, as you can see. But they're really good to just give a little bit of texture in the background. So I stamped the writing or the text stamp in 3 places. Sorry about my head there. I found this cool little face stamp that I thought would look good peering out of that blank space. It looks okay, but it wasn't necessarily, but I had to pop my head in to make sure I lined it up. Anyway, here come the background stamps. I'm using them on a store gift card to help me stamp them. I only have one acrylic block here with me in Morocco, and it is a huge, well, not huge, but it's A5, so it's quite big. So I find with little stamps like this, these little gift cards are perfect. As long as you line it up to one of the edges, you can always stamp it exactly where you want it. I know people like the clear blocks, but I have lack of space, and also when I'm traveling, lack of weight limit, or a weight limit in my suitcase. So I have to be quite careful about what I pack. So these little gift cards work perfectly. Then what I've grabbed is a like a paint splat, and I've added that in those 3 places as well. Now you can see I'm taking off that masking tape, which I do keep because I make my own washi tape, and that's got some gorgeous paint and texture on it. And yeah, there you can see I've got my nice white crisp background, sort of border, not background, border, now that the tape's been removed. I then grab my Unibal Signo pen in white, and I recolour the whites of the eyes. I quite often do this on characters and faces and people to help bring those eyes alive. And then I put the little catch lights into the centre of the pupil as well, and it just makes them pop. So there you go. That was a very quick and easy page, but I've made it my own. I'm very happy with her. And that's some nice little close-ups for you. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will be back every Friday at 5 for your Friday Art Escape. For now, bye-bye.